Let's take a look at the 5 phases of a mid-iron golf swing. In the setup and takeaway, the golfer must align their body to the intended target, feet shoulders width apart, centering the ball in the middle of their stance. The body needs to be in an athletic stance with the knees slightly bent and the back angled towards the ball. Tiger Woods has this checkpoint of always feeling as if his lower back was slightly stretched. Arms fall naturally down from there as the golfer holds the grip. The takeaway begins with the lower body and upper body turning around the trail side hip. The club head should go straight back and naturally turn on its arc with the body. In the backswing, think of your body as a corkscrew winding up, as the upper body and lower body continue to turn, with as much hip depth and shoulder turn as possible. Weight transfers from the lead side to the inside heel of the trail side foot. It is important to not sway the head and body, but turn around the hip. Swaying leads to inconsistent impact and power, leading to a loss of distance. As the player coils, he cocks his hands in the club shaft back, with the lead arm parallel to ground. Head should remain on the ball. At the top of the swing, all great players have a pause before the downswing. This serves to enhance the player's tempo, but also to add lag and power to the swing. And now it's time to unwind that corkscrew. The lower body begins to shift weight to the lead side, the hip begins to turn, followed by shoulders, arms, hands, and club. Impact is the most important phase of the golf swing. Many pro golfers have different swings, but all deliver impact the same: center contact with a descending iron shot. After the weight has shifted, the golfer will release the club face into impact. The arms should be in a V position with the hands ahead of the ball, creating compression. After impact, the golfer clears their hips and the upper body follows the swing path all the way around the body. Weight is completely transferred to the lead side and the trail side foot completes on the toes. All right, now let's look at the phases of the swing in comparison to an actual player lesson. This player originally came with a very weak grip. You could barely see any knuckles. Now you'll see an overcompensation where she has almost too many knuckles on her lead hand wrist. Her right hand wrist was fairly neutral, so we didn't change that, but she also had a very in-to-out swing, meaning she was coming from the inside into the right, and that combined with a severely weak grip led to a push-to-push slice, something that wasn't even really playable. The other thing we did was we put a club down to align her to an actual target. I noticed that the first thing was she wasn't even really correctly aimed at any particular target. Another thing you'll note from analyzing this swing is that she's fairly close stance leading to that in-to-out path, but also she has an upper body that's fairly opened. So this is one thing that we're going to have to correct in the future. She keeps overcompensating. The initial takeaway is fairly good. She's relatively neutral going back. She has a slight tendency to go a little inside, but nothing to be too concerned with. However, she is swaying far too much, and what we want to do is quiet that down and make her feel the pressure more on her inside right foot. The only thing I will notice in her backswing is that, and she does a pretty good job of cocking her wrists here. The one thing to be concerned with, again, is her hip turn and sway, and she's not getting as much swing speed as she needs because she's not fully turning on and rotating through her hip. Top of the swing looks good. She has most of her weight off that front lead heel, which is also good to see. See a slight pause here, which is good for her lag, and she's pushing off that right foot nicely into her lead side, creating pretty good leverage there as she's coming through. She's an athlete. She was a former softball player, so this is probably a little easier for her to transition to. Now she's coming down through impact, staying pretty on plane, which is good. As we go to impact, because she's on her right side a little too much and she did not have enough lag here, this impact position is not very strong. We want her lead side wrist before the club so she can compress the club face into the ball and then the turf, giving her more speed. Follow through is probably the best part of her swing here. She does a very good job of turning her entire body to target. Another good touch point is that club touching the back of her head or her back, making sure she's going all the way through, and the weight is completely transitioned to the lead side.